Hello and welcome back to the Moviesandbox tutorials. This is the fourth tutorial, and we'll actually be placing a camera in this tutorial. Before we created our own little Unreal Tournament character, we created a mark where we want him to walk to, and then we connected a command, a move to command, to our Unreal character, and when we press space, our character will actually walk towards where we wanted him to walk. Now, before we go any further, we'll just want to give this guy a name to make the whole relationship a little bit more personal. And in order to do that, you can right-click on the root node of this character, and you see a menu popping up. Hide links will basically hide whatever is attached to the character. Show links will show whatever is attached to the character. These two things can be very important if you have like a long list of commands that your character is actually executing. Right now, they're not of a lot of importance to us. Button name is a lot more important, as you will see in a second. When I click on it, I will erase a pawn root and just type in Joe. And when I hit enter, you see that the button name, the root node name, actually switches to Joe. And now it's much easier to keep track, especially if I have a couple of characters here. I know what Joe's doing, and I can make another character called Sam, and then I'll see what Sam's doing. Now, anim set is something that's very experimental, and I'm not going to talk about it much. It allows you to switch different animation sets within the UT skeleton, but we won't be doing that right now. So I'd suggest you just think of this thing as being invisible. So yeah, just don't click it. And then we just deselect something, and now we have Joe moving to this target. Now, we want to place a camera that makes this whole scene a little bit more cinematic. So first, I'm going to fly around the scene to take a look at where I want to place my camera. Flying is done by pressing the Alt button once to switch to navigation mode, in case you didn't get that. I'm saying it again. I'm using the Alt button a lot because flying around is very, very important. Now, I found a place where I can place my camera actually, and I'm just adjusting with the W, A, S, and D buttons and using C and Control to go up and down. And when I'm satisfied with my position, I can hit the Alt button again to go back into the setup mode and leave the navigation mode and have control over my mouse again. And now there's basically two ways to create a camera. The first way is going to the props menu, just like we did when we created the target, and click on spawn a camera. Now, this way, we'll have a camera on our mouse and we can move it around wherever we want to, and I'll just click again to put the camera someplace. But I actually like the way we're looking at this scene right now from my position. So if I hit the K key, just K, I will create a new camera just at that position with just that rotation that I was in. So now I can hit Alt again and go back to a position where I have a good overview of what's going on, and you can see that it's a lot easier to create this camera, to first fly around and then just hit this shortcut, the K key, to create a camera, then to actually place it and then move it and then rotate it and so on. So we'll quickly delete this other camera. I do that by moving my mouse over it. I don't need to select it. I could. When I left click, I select it. But I don't need to. I can deselect it, move my mouse over it, and then hit the delete key to just simply delete it. Now be careful with deleting things, because when you have your mouse over something and you hit the delete key, it will be gone forever. There's no rewind or undo or anything. So always be aware that before hitting the delete key, look at where your mouse is, what you're actually deleting, and if you really want to delete that. Just so you know, you have been warned. Now with cameras, you can do a lot of things. Remember when we right-clicked on our character, there was this small menu popping up with all these different things, and you could basically move it around and rotate and so on. Now with a camera, there's even more stuff popping up. Now, the first three things are kind of the same thing. There's no real need to scale a camera, so that icon we can completely ignore. This icon means movement. If I click on it, you can see that I move the camera. And what you can also notice is that on the lower right-hand corner, when I move the camera, there's a preview of what the camera is seeing. Now, the preview is a little bit buggy, which I apologize for. And you'll see that the preview makes a lot more sense if I am somewhere else. And you see that the preview window gets cropped by the geometry of the level, which is a bug, but sometimes the preview window actually works, and it would show you what the camera is seeing. Now, another button is the rotate button, where you can rotate the camera, and you can see in the preview window how that affects what the camera sees. And then you have all these other fancy buttons. This button here is the possess button. If you press it once, your view switches back into the camera, and now you can control it with the W, A, S, and D keys. You can go up, down, and so on. When you press again, you're back out, and you can fly to your overview again. So that way you can actually rearrange your camera position with the W, A, S, and D keys. It's just like navigating, but once you possess the camera, you're not navigating anymore, but you're actually navigating with the camera itself. And this little button here is the field of view button, where you can change the field of view of the camera, which you could do right now, but it's a lot easier to change the field of view in the command that we give when we want to switch to the camera. Now, there's another button. Actually, there's two more buttons. One's lost down here. When I move my mouse over here, you see that the button is actually visible. If I move my mouse over out of this window, the button gets invisible again. This is a bug. I know about this. It's gonna be away at some point, but right now it's a little bit of an annoyance. And there's another icon, which is this icon, which is the advanced properties icon. Now, never press this icon when you're in full screen mode. It will just basically crash Unreal Tournament. When you're not in full screen mode, when you're running Moviesandbox in windowed mode, this icon will bring up a separate window with all the variables and properties of this particular object, which is something when you're a little bit more advanced and you want to do some crazy stuff, or you just want to look at what this object is like in code, then this is great for you. But for everyone else, just never ever touch this button and you'll be fine. And finally, here you can add, you can create a channel for this camera to be controlled by an external device, which we won't do right now, so we'll just leave this. Basically, just stick to movement and rotation and you're gonna be fine. All right, I'll deselect the camera, and in order to tell Moviesandbox to switch to that camera, there are a couple of different ways. If we go back to our node menu and we look at all the commands that we have, there's one command that says set camera, which sounds great, so we're going to use it. So I click on set camera and place it over here, and then I can connect set camera to the move to node, just like I connected the move to node to Joe.